Welcome to part 2 of the Oregon FFA Career Development Series for the Forestry CDE. In this video, we're continuing our work in timber cruising, and we're answering a classic question. How do you measure the height of a tree? Without, of course, cutting it down or climbing to the top with a tape measure. Since height is a key part of calculating a tree's board foot volume, we need a practical way to do this. This video will cover how to use the forestry laser, a newer piece of equipment that's very prevalent and relevant in the industry. Other videos from Oregon FFA will cover the other tools.
I'm Jerry Risk. I'm a forester with Roseburg Forest Products. The biggest factors that are going to affect the growth rate of a tree are environmental factors. And these are all factors that we take into consideration when planting a new stand. Environmental factors such as weather, precipitation, how warm the climate is going to be are huge ones. Aspect of a site, a south slope versus a north slope. And another one that I can control as a forester is going to be vegetation management. Trees competing with weeds and brush on the landscape, but also with other trees. And that's where we might have to use a tool like a pre-commercial thin to release those trees from competing vegetation. I remember the first time I used the clinometer in the Forestry CDE, and I was just wondering, when am I ever going to use this thing again besides taking tree heights? And now in my job, we use it on a daily basis. So not only for tree heights, we have lasers to do that as well. But when we're running grades for roads or checking slope of roads or slope anywhere really, we're using a clinometer and other tools on a daily basis too. Diameter tapes for taking diameters of trees, also using them to measure the radius of plots. Lasers for also measuring slope distance or horizontal distance when we're putting in riparian management areas. There's a whole wide array of areas that we're continuing to use these tools that I originally learned in the classroom back in high school and using them on a daily basis now in my career.
Let's take a look at the Nikon Forestry Pro 2 laser and how it works. This is a common model that an ag program might have in the classroom or an FFA chapter might use for the CDE. If we take a look at the top, we can see there are two buttons. There's the power on button, which also has the laser symbol. And every time we want to take a reading, we'll push that button. Anytime we need to change a mode, we'll push this button here. So to turn it on, we'll just click that once. And immediately we can see the screen's lit up. We can see how much battery's there. We can see what unit we're in, which is currently yards. We can see what mode we're in. ACT is actual, so it'll shoot the actual distance, just like a rangefinder. If I click mode, it'll take horizontal. So it'll find a distance again, but this time it's the horizontal distance between two objects. So no matter what angle you shoot, it'll calculate and figure out the math itself to how far away you are. Set it again, we can find the height of an object based from your eye up, kind of like a clinometer does, except again, the distance won't matter. We have the angle. You can measure an angle. We can do 2P, which will find the height between 2 points. And we can use 3P, which we're going to use for the rest of this video for demonstration, where first we find the distance to an item, then we'll find the height, the top and the bottom for a total height. And we're going to be using that. Let's talk about how we change our units from yards to feet, as well as change it so that it is not logging our answers. In the CDE, we can't have a device being shared between students that would be sharing answers. So we can easily change these by holding down the mode button for about 3 seconds. And the first thing we'll see is that the unit is yards. And if we click the power button, now it's feet, M is meters, back to yards. Let's put it to feet. We'll click mode again to go to the next option, then the third option. The fourth option says log. Where it says on, let's click the power button and we turn it off. If I click the mode 2 more times, it'll exit. And now I am good to go and ready to use this for feet, and it will not be recording my answers. So that if another team member needed to use this for the CDE in the next rotation, they could. Now that we've gone over the settings and how to get the laser into the correct mode, let's talk about actually using it in the field. First, press the mode button and cycle through the options until you see 3P. That stands for the 3-point mode. That's the one we want. Once you've selected 3P, you're ready to take your measurements. Looking through the scope, you'll press the fire button 3 times. First, aim at the base of the tree, somewhere against it. Make sure that you are sighted against the tree. That gives us the horizontal distance from where you're standing to the tree. Second, aim for the very top of the tree. This records the angle from your position to the top. And third, press the button 1 more time while focused on the bottom, the base of the tree. That'll get us the angle for the bottom measurement, And from there, the device will calculate the height of the tree for you. No math required. Let's take a look at this one more time. We can see the first shot's been taken against the trunk of the tree. Next, the top shot's been taken, which is calculated an angle. And finally, the third shot's taken against the base, the ground level. And we can see the height at 107.6 feet. So when a person is using a laser, what do they actually see? Well, this actually sees through it like a scope does with a digital overlay. It's not like a clinometer. And so when the person is using it, they can see a crosshair and the readings that they're getting, not just on that side screen. Let's look at an example. In this view, we can see that we're taking our first shot. So HOR was flashing and we just hit the tree. Now HGT is flashing. We're going to go all the way up to the top of the tree, line up with the top, and click the fire button. Now, plus HGT2 is flashing. That's telling us it's time to take our final reading at the base of the tree at the very bottom. Line up with the uphill side and click it. And we have our height of our tree. In this case, our tree is 141.3 feet tall. It won't take long till it's ready to do another shot. With HOR flashing, we can shoot against the trunk of another tree. Scan to the top. HGT is flashing, telling us we're going to find the angle to the top of that tree there. And it's already doing the math and trigonometry to figure out what the height's going to be, but it won't finish until we do the third shot at the base of the tree with HGT2 flashing. We click it, and now we have a tree height of 96.2 feet for this tree. It didn't matter how far away we stood. One of the benefits of using the forestry laser is the fact that you can do it from just about any distance, as long as you can see the top and bottom and the middle of that tree. The closer you stand, the more likelihood of error, but it doesn't matter if we're 25, 50, 100, 200 feet away. The forestry laser will do the trigonometry and figure out the actual height based on the readings that it gets. In the Forestry CDE, we'll use tree height measurement as part of the Timber Cruising Practicum. You'll have 3 different tools to choose from: the clinometer, the forestry laser, or the merit hypsometer built into the Biltmore stick. Each of these tools can be used to measure tree height. Once we've measured the height of each tree and converted that into merchantable logs, we'll combine that information with the tree diameters, covered in the previous video, to calculate the board foot volume for each of the 5 trees included in the practicum. You'll have just 40 minutes to cruise all 5 trees, calculate their volumes, and then determine both the plot volume and the per acre volume. We'll go over how to do those calculations in the next video.